Men over 60, I need you to hear this clearly. There may be a vitamin sitting in your cabinet right now, something you've been taking every morning without question, that could be quietly killing your erections. I know that sounds extreme, but after 30 years working with men your age, I've seen it happen more times than I expected. I remember one patient, early 70s, disciplined, careful with his health. He told me, "Doctor, I don't understand, but I'm doing everything right." And he was, eating better, walking every day, taking his supplements. But his energy was dropping, his sleep was broken, and his sexual function slowly disappearing. What caught my attention wasn't his condition, it was what he was taking. Here's the part most people miss. Not all vitamins behave the same in a body over 60. Some of the most popular ones, the ones labeled heart healthy or good for bones, can start working against your blood flow, your hormones, even your prostate. Not overnight, but quietly over time. And the hardest part, most men never suspect it. But there's good news. Because when you remove the wrong ones and replace them with what your body actually needs, things can shift. I've seen men regain energy, sleep deeper, even notice changes they thought were gone for good. So today I'll walk you through 4 vitamins you should never take after 60, and 4 you may need more than ever. Before we get into the 4 vitamins you should never take after 60, let me ask you something real quick. How old are you and where are you watching from? I read every single comment and it genuinely helps me understand who I'm speaking to. All right, let's begin. The first vitamin on this list might surprise you because it's one of the most commonly used supplements among men your age, and it may be doing more harm than good. 1. High-dose vitamin E. Let me start with something simple and often ignored. If you're taking a vitamin E supplement right now, the easiest thing you can do starting today is check the label and pause if it says 400 IU or more. That might sound almost too simple to matter, but this is where things get interesting, because your body doesn't use isolated high-dose vitamin E the same way it uses the version found in food. Here's why. Vitamin E isn't just one compound. It's a family of nutrients that work together in balance. But most supplements give you only one form, called alpha-tocopherol, and in high doses it actually crowds out the other forms your body needs. Instead of protecting your cells, it creates an imbalance in your antioxidant system, and over time, that imbalance can affect blood vessels, hormone signaling, and even prostate tissue. Now, this becomes more important after 60. Your circulation is already more sensitive, your cells recover slower, and your hormone environment is changing. When that balance is disrupted even slightly, it can show up as reduced blood flow, lower energy, and yes, weaker erections. What surprised me when I first looked into this years ago was how consistent the pattern was among my older patients who were taking high-dose vitamin E daily. There was also a large clinical trial involving over 35,000 men that found those taking high-dose vitamin E had about a 17% higher risk of developing prostate cancer compared to those who didn't. That doesn't mean vitamin E is bad, it means the form and dose matter more than most people realize. And here's the dual benefit of doing this right. When you remove the synthetic high dose, you not only reduce unnecessary risk, you also allow your body's natural antioxidant balance to recover. So, what should you do instead? Focus on food-based sources like almonds, sunflower seeds, and avocados. Or if you supplement, choose a mixed tocopherol formula under 200 IU taken with a meal that contains fat. Give your body a few weeks, sometimes a few months, and pay attention. You may notice subtle improvements in circulation and overall vitality. And this is just the first one, because the next vitamin on this list is even more common, and the way it affects your arteries might explain more than you think. 2. Calcium supplements. Now here's something that sounds almost too basic, but it changes everything. If you're taking calcium supplements, the first step is simple. Stop taking them on an empty stomach and never take them alone. That small adjustment may seem minor, but in traditional medicine, calcium-rich foods were always paired with other nutrients to guide absorption, and modern science is finally catching up to that idea. Here's the central mechanism most people never hear about. When you take calcium in supplement form, especially in larger doses, it enters your bloodstream quickly as a concentrated spike. Your body wasn't designed to handle that kind of sudden load, so instead of going neatly into your bones, some of it gets deposited into soft tissues, especially your arteries. Over time, this leads to something called vascular calcification, where arteries become stiff, reducing blood flow exactly where men over 60 need it most. And this isn't just theory. One large analysis published in the British Medical Journal found that calcium supplementation was associated with about a 20 to 30% increased risk of heart attack. Another study showed that men with higher calcium supplement intake had significantly more arterial plaque buildup compared to those who got calcium from food sources. What makes this more concerning is the cumulative effect. This doesn't happen overnight, it builds quietly over years. Now here's where the synergy becomes critical. Calcium needs a traffic controller, and that's vitamin K2. Without K2, calcium floats freely and can end up in the wrong places, but with K2 it gets directed into bones and away from arteries. Think of it as a guidance system. One nutrient loads the calcium, the other tells it where to go. So here's how to approach this safely. If you're new, start by reducing supplement calcium to no more than 500 milligrams per day, always taken with a meal and ideally alongside 100 to 200 micrograms of vitamin K2. Even better, begin shifting toward food sources like leafy greens and dairy, and let your body adapt gradually over a few weeks. Because what we're really dealing with here isn't just calcium, it's where that calcium ends up. And the next vitamin on this list goes even deeper into how nutrients can silently accumulate and start working against your body in ways most men never expect. 3. High-dose vitamin A, retinol. Let's make this very practical right away. If your multivitamin contains retinol, especially above 2,500 IU, the simplest move you can make today is to stop stacking it with other sources and switch to a lower dose or a beta-carotene version. It sounds like a small tweak, but what most people don't realize is that retinol behaves very differently in the body compared to plant-based vitamin A. Here's the key compound to understand. Preformed retinol. Unlike beta-carotene, which your body converts only when needed, retinol is absorbed directly and stored, mainly in the liver. That means every dose adds to a running total, and over time it can build up faster than your body can safely process. Within hours of a high dose, your liver begins converting excess retinol into active metabolites, and if those levels rise too quickly, it can start interfering with bone remodeling and cellular repair. Now, why does this matter more after 60? Because your body's ability to regulate and clear excess nutrients slows down. Studies have shown that men with the highest retinol levels had up to a 2-fold increased risk of hip fractures, and another long-term study found a significant drop in bone mineral density in men consuming high-dose vitamin A over several years. What surprised me clinically is how quickly some men begin to feel subtle effects: joint stiffness, reduced recovery, even lower physical endurance. And here's the part many overlook. What feels like tightness or mild discomfort isn't always random. It can be your body signaling overload. Not damage yet, but imbalance starting to form. So instead of pushing through, you adjust early. Here's how to do it properly. Keep total vitamin A intake under 2,500 IU per day. Unless medically advised, avoid combining multiple supplements with retinol, and if possible, shift toward beta-carotene from foods like carrots and leafy greens. Give your body a few weeks, sometimes a couple of months, and you may notice better recovery, more stable energy, and improved physical resilience. Because this isn't just about one vitamin, it's about how accumulation changes your body over time. And the next one we're about to discuss works in a completely different way, not by building up, but by accelerating something far more aggressive inside your system. 4. Iron. Unnecessary supplementation. Let's make this immediate and practical. If you're taking iron and you haven't had a blood test confirming deficiency, the smartest step you can take today is to stop. That might feel uncomfortable, especially if you believe iron equals energy, but in men over 60, the real issue is often the opposite: too much iron, not too little. Here's the key compound: Free iron. Once absorbed, excess iron participates in what's called the Fenton reaction, a process that rapidly generates free radicals. This can begin within hours, increasing oxidative stress in your blood vessels and damaging the inner lining that controls circulation. Studies have shown that men with higher ferritin levels had up to a 30% increased risk of cardiovascular disease, and another analysis linked elevated iron stores to significantly higher rates of metabolic and liver dysfunction over time. Now here's what many men miss. That heavy, sluggish feeling, even mild fatigue after taking iron, isn't always helping you recover. It can be a sign your body is overloaded. Instead of forcing more in, you want to remove the excess. So here's how to approach it. Get a full iron panel, and if your ferritin is above 100, avoid supplementation entirely. Focus on balanced nutrition, and if levels are high, consider donating blood every few months as a natural reset. Because once you remove this overload, your body often responds quickly, lighter, clearer, more efficient. And now we're about to shift gears completely into the 4 vitamins your body may actually need. Let's start with the first one. 5. Vitamin D3. Let's make this simple and immediate. If you're not taking vitamin D3 right now, or you're taking a very low dose, the fastest upgrade you can make today is to start with 2,000 to 4,000 IU taken with your largest meal. It sounds basic, almost too easy, but this is one of those rare cases where something simple has a very real biological impact within hours. The key compound here is calcitriol, the active form your body converts D3 into after it passes through the liver and kidneys. Once activated, it begins interacting with vitamin D receptors found in your blood vessels, muscles, and even testosterone-producing cells. Within a short time, it can improve endothelial function, meaning your blood vessels relax better, allowing stronger and more consistent blood flow. This matters more after 60 because your natural production drops significantly. Studies have shown that men correcting vitamin D deficiency saw up to a 20% increase in testosterone over several months, and improvements in vascular function have been observed in as little as a few weeks. What I've seen personally is that some men begin noticing better mood and steadier energy within days, which often surprises them. Now, some people worry about side effects or taking too much, but mild warmth or improved sleep isn't a problem. It's often your body responding positively. Take it daily, stay consistent, and give it 30 to 90 days to build, because while D3 activates your system, the next nutrient determines where everything goes, and that's a completely different mechanism. 6. Vitamin K2, MK7. Let's make this very practical. If you've started vitamin D3, the next step is simple. Add vitamin K2, specifically the MK7 form, and take it with the same meal. It may sound like a small addition, but within hours, K2 begins activating proteins that decide where calcium goes in your body, and that decision affects your arteries, your bones, and even your circulation. The key compound here is matrix GLA protein, or MGP. Once activated by K2, it binds excess calcium and pulls it away from your arteries, while another protein, osteocalcin, directs that calcium into your bones. This process is especially critical after 60 when calcium misplacement becomes more common, and it's one of the hidden reasons behind stiff arteries and reduced blood flow. Now, here's what makes this powerful. In long-term population data, higher K2 intake was linked to about a 57% lower risk of cardiovascular death, and another study showed significant reductions in arterial stiffness over time. What I've noticed clinically is that when men combine D3 with K2, they often report better endurance, warmer hands and feet, and more stable energy throughout the day. Some men worry about adding another supplement or mild stomach sensitivity at first, but that adjustment phase is often a sign your body is rebalancing calcium flow. Start with 100 to 200 micrograms of MK7 daily, taken with fat, and continue consistently for several weeks to months. Because now that calcium is being directed properly, the next step goes deeper, into the mineral that controls over 300 reactions in your body and quietly determines how well everything else actually works. 7. Magnesium. Let's make this simple to start. If you're not taking magnesium at night, begin with a low dose this evening about an hour before bed. It may sound like just another supplement, but within hours, magnesium begins calming your nervous system, lowering cortisol, and preparing your body for deeper, more restorative sleep. The key compound here is magnesium glycinate, one of the most absorbable forms. Once inside your body, it acts as a cofactor in over 300 enzymatic reactions, including those responsible for testosterone production and nitric oxide release. In plain terms, it helps your blood vessels relax and your hormones function more efficiently, which is why some men notice better sleep the very first night and more stable energy within days. Research has shown that magnesium supplementation can improve sleep quality by up to 30% within a few weeks, and another study linked higher magnesium levels to increased free testosterone, especially in older men. What I've seen in practice is that when sleep improves, everything else follows: energy, mood, even physical performance. Some men say magnesium upsets their stomach, but that usually comes from the wrong form, like magnesium oxide. A slight sense of relaxation or heaviness at night is not a side effect. It's your body finally shifting into recovery mode. Start with 200 to 400 milligrams of magnesium glycinate in the evening, stay consistent for at least 2 to 4 weeks, and let the effects build. Because now we've supported sleep and recovery, but the final piece goes even deeper, directly into the prostate itself. 8. Zinc plus vitamin B6, P5P. If I had to choose one combination that consistently delivers results for men over 60, this would be it. Zinc paired with vitamin B6 in its active form, P5P, is one of the most effective yet overlooked ways to directly support prostate health and hormonal balance. It's not expensive, it's not complicated, but when used correctly, it can create changes that many men notice within weeks. The key compounds here are zinc and P5P working together like a lock and key. Zinc helps block an enzyme that converts testosterone into DHT, the hormone responsible for prostate enlargement, while B6 ensures that zinc actually enters the prostate cells where it's needed. Think of zinc as the worker, and B6 as the one opening the door. Without both, the system doesn't function properly. Now here's what makes this powerful. Clinical observations and studies have shown that men with higher zinc levels have significantly lower rates of prostate enlargement, and targeted supplementation has been associated with noticeable improvements in urinary symptoms within 60 to 90 days. In some cases, results are comparable to early-stage pharmaceutical interventions, but without the same dependency. Here's how to use it properly. Take 25 to 30 milligrams of zinc, preferably as glycinate or picolinate, combined with 25 to 50 milligrams of vitamin B6 as P5P once daily with food. Make it part of your routine, not a short-term fix, because this works through steady correction, not quick stimulation. And that's the key message here. You don't need extreme solutions. You don't need expensive treatments. When you remove what harms you and support your body with the right nutrients consistently, your body still knows how to recover. If this video gave you something to think about or helped you see your supplements in a new way, consider subscribing. I share simple, science-based insights for men over 60 who want to protect their energy, their circulation, and their long-term health without confusion. Each video breaks down what actually works, what to avoid, and how to apply it in real life. No hype, just clear guidance you can use right away. Thank you for spending this time with me, and I'll see you in the next video where we continue building your health step by step.